Hello, everyone. Long time no see. It's been haven't seen y'all since last year. Good way to start it all off. And it's, yeah. Well, first and first, hello, it's Ranger. We're in 2026 as of right now on January 2nd. Not that long from now, so we eventually end January, I guess. Time just flies, I feel like. But yes, today we're going to be talking about the 2026, December's revenue charts that popped up on January, and yeah, we can just go on from there to see how everything, basically kind of ran on with all this stuff right now. And I do have to say that overall, things have been looking pretty interesting as far as I have heard. But yeah, I think we can start things off with, of course, the games that have EOSed. I have personally never heard of Gulong Chow. I've never heard of that game, I'm gonna be honest. Black Beacon, I've heard about that one right there. They've just done a really horrible job as far as I've known. I've heard that the game's somewhat interesting. There's an interesting concept to it, but the gacha system and how the game was handled story-wise was also not that good. I know the character designs were pretty good so far, but yeah, it's a shame that they had the EOS. And as I have always been saying, involving with gacha games, essentially, all these games that are right here, they're barely cracking anything. I mean, this is a lot of money. You have to understand, this is a lot of money, okay? Essentially, you could assume every game that is below 200 grand, in my opinion, not doing too well. It's not doing too well at all. Those are a little bit above. I think they're doing somewhat decent. I mean, you can make a good point, especially for Mobile Legends, for example. I mean, I've played this game before, I'm not gonna hide that part. I've played Mobile Legends before for maybe a year and a half, maybe. It was a really fun game, but it's been around for many couple years now. At this point, the fact that it's still here, you can clearly understand that they just need to make six figures, middle ground six figures, then they can probably sustain themselves at the very least. So I think 200k is the minimum, I would say, that would be required to sustain themselves properly without any issues. So with all these games, you can clearly see that they're doing pretty well. Honkai Gakuen, that's an old game, that's for sure right there. I think that's one of the first set of games that Hoyoverse has made. Very interesting that they're still around. Tower Fantasy is here also. Another game that had a lot of drama about last year or 2 years ago, if I'm correct. But yeah, it's interesting to see that they're around here. MMORPG games are, something that I've had a huge interest in back in the days. But yeah. Now, seeing these other games right here, I have never really heard most of these. Limbus Company, I have heard. Yeah. But again, Limbus Company, as I said in my previous video, they have a very good story. They're doing Arknights collab. That's also something very good that they're doing right there. I know there's a lot of fans that are very happy about Limbus Company doing a combined partnership between the two. So there's that. But yeah, another Eden, never heard of that. Honkai Impact 3rd, yep, they're doing okay also. They're making more than enough money to sustain themselves. That's for one good reason right there. So there's that. I can totally understand why they're making this money right here. I'm very interested about the newest character that just got released, that I did my most recent poll with, as you all saw. Pretty interested in how that banner is going to be looking like. I don't really see it being too good because it's a character that isn't highly sought after, if I'm correct. So yeah, I can't really think of anyone really pulling for that banner. That banner usually takes about 30 days, 20 to 30 days, high 20s. So there's that. Epic 7, their music is amazing, but never really played the game. I heard it's Blue Fantasy. I think that was the name of the game. But yeah, it's kind of a similar game to that. So there's that. Grand Summoners, never heard of these. The Theory Restart I have, that's good. Punishing Grey Raven. I've been thinking about playing Punishing Grey Raven. especially with Wuwa's newest character that looks like Alicia, but isn't, because they're based on Nanami from Punishing Gray Raven. So very interested in how that's gonna go, especially Lucia. Lucia looks really cool, and I saw some of the fight animations that were going down, so that's something I want to check out for sure. Totally would recommend. I have played Punishing Gray Raven first when it was first released by Kuro Games. I was very interested because it had like a Honkai Impact Third kind of style right there, and that's something that really caught my attention a lot. And I feel like a lot of people really had a huge fascination with PGR, especially with a lot of PGR players coming from WUA players coming from PGR or having a connection with PGR, for supporters, of course. I know there's not that much discourse between WUA and PGR with each other, because, you know, they're like kind of more of a supporting each other almost in a sense, especially with Nanami's release in WUA, especially about that. Not unlike Hoyoverse, where the community is somewhat divided on which one's better, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact Third. I mean, Honkai Impact Third is basically doing well by themselves. They're just chilling by themselves, really. Zenless Zone Zero having, as far as I know, I don't think Zenless Zone Zero players have had any issues clashing amongst each other, as far as I know, because they're all gooners. They all just keep to themselves and just goon, I guess. So, I mean, they're not really doing much or harming each other. But it's the Gacha, this Honkai Star Rail that has a very huge toxic fan base. Honkai Star Rail wasn't really like that, but yeah, it's becoming more developed, into that. AFK Arena, heard of that. Never heard of these. Stellasora. I've heard Stellasora was doing, like, I mean, I guess this is an example of it doing not well, but it's still, that's good amount of money that they're making right there on their own. It's just sad that Yostar is screwing up the game, as far as I've heard. Yostar's monetization and, of course, like how much they're charging the players is really bad. Not to mention the gacha system is really garbage right there. Somewhat similar to Enfield, actually, Arknight's Enfield, and I actually hope that they fix Arknight's Enfield gacha system as soon as possible, especially with this. But hope can be dismissive in this situation due to the fact that we're at the final beta test for Arknight's Enfield, and I really hope they do remove that and change it up, like in 50-50 system. You either lose the 50-50 or you get it. I really hope that Arknight's Enfield does that, because it can benefit that a lot tremendously. Trickle Revival, never heard of this. Star Savior, One Piece, Animation Ambition. We're at a point where we're basically, the gacha games will sustain themselves, so it's not a big issue here for most of these. Persona 5, Fire Emblem, Shining Nikkei, Disney Twisted Wonderland. Never heard of that one, I'm gonna be honest. One Piece Treasure. I know the One Piece card game has been going crazy right now, so that's pretty interesting to see it as well. Reverse 1999, very surprised that this is doing really good. Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Duel, no surprise there. It doesn't look like they even changed, which is good, I guess. Memento, Watcher's Realm, Shadowverse, Ensemble Stars, The Seven Deadly Sin Cross, Hatsune Miku, Blue Archive. I would have thought that they would have went up even more than that. I'm not gonna lie. Especially with the back-to-back most anticipated, characters. But I guess they're not most anticipated, technically. I mean, technically it is, because they made 5 million. So, they must have done pretty good, the banner-wise. So that's something. But I thought it would have went, maybe 6 mil? 7 mil maybe. It's not really off that much though, but they're doing well on their own. Cooking One Kingdom, Beyond, Girls Life Frontline 2. I have this game on my Steam. I actually kind of want to play this game, but I don't really know how it's gonna work out. But I'll be thinking about it this month if I want to play it or not. I have been a huge fan of Girls Frontline 1. I've been grinding on that game beforehand, before I stopped, about last year. Yeah, well, 2 years ago, technically speaking now. So there's that. The Girls Frontline 2, 1, a unique system. I like the art stuff that they have, and not to mention, I think I said it before about how Lowlight, who is the CEO of Arknights, the company Hypergriff, or Griffline, he's the one that actually worked on one of the characters for Girls Frontline, and they used it into Arknights, which was really nice. So there's that. Brown does too. I have seen a lot of cosplayers on my Instagram feed from Brown does too, and they're like, it's like wicked. It's like crazy how over-sexualized they are. Like, it's actually insane how freaking over-sexualized it is. When I was at the Anime NYC convention for last year, I did see that they had a Brown Dust 2 opening that was going on right there, like a booth, and there was a lot of cosplayers right there. There was one cosplayer that I follow on Instagram, and she was also there, and that was pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, very over-sexualized. It's truly just a Gooner game, honestly. Like like Nikkei, for example. So there's that. Seven Kings, never heard of these. I'm a little surprised that these games are on the top, but I've never heard of them. I've never heard of this. I think I've seen like 2 One Pieces at this point now here. Dragon Ball Z, Summer's War, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Zero Lane. You know, another Gooner game about ships right here. Battle Cats. I have no idea how Battle Cats is doing this. I don't understand it. This makes no sense. Arknights. You know, I'm happy with what happened last month. Okay, they did an amazing job. Okay, $41 million and dropped down to $10 million. The banners aren't that crazy right now, so I completely understand why it's not that crazy. So, you know, props up to them for, you know, breaking it up, you know, breaking it there. So I respect that totally right here. 10 million is regardless really good. If you're in the top, like, 20, you're doing exceptionally well, and you'll survive for many more years to come. And I love Arknights. I'll continue supporting Arknights, and I'm excited to see how Arknights Enfield is. I can see Arknights Enfield being in like the top 15 consistently if Arknights is here like this. Arknights Enfield would be like top 15, yeah, top 15 or even top 10. Honestly, I could see it being top 10 because of how clean the game is. The Gacha system is where they're going to be making a lot of money, especially with what the system is right now. So I kind of hope they fix that, because they could, if you can think about this in my perspective, I think they can make the game more profitable if they made the system a lot more fair, because then people are going to be more interested in pulling the characters, knowing full well that they have a higher chance of getting it rather than what they have right now, if that makes sense. But yeah, Arknights, amazing. 10 million, I totally am okay with this. Chaos Zero Nightmare, I have never played this game. It's on my downloads already, but I might play it. So 11 million, so who knows, maybe this month or next month I'll play it. Never heard of Puzzle, Marvel's Steeg, I've heard of this one. It's Dragon Ball Legends, Goddess of Victory Nikkei. Yeah, they've been in a stagnant banner, so it's pretty insane that they're up to 16 million right here, honestly. It actually is even crazier that their banners are so freaking long, because it's like 40 days or something like that. I don't know, like 50 maybe. I could not really understand how long it takes for this banner to be up. Goddess Victory Nikkei, yep, that's the one I was talking about, being Gooner just like the Brown Dust 2. Insane. I can totally understand why we're coming up closer. We're coming up to the more Gooner section right here. Naruto Mobile. Don't understand how this is. I mean, I'm a Naruto fan, so you know I'm not even gonna jump that. Uma Musume, one game of the year. Not surprised that it's in the top 10. So Godspeed to that. Monster Strike, 21 million. Don't even know what the hell this game is. Never heard of it. Withering Waves. Yeah. One player's the voice. Doing really exceptionally well. 18 million to 23 million, and it seems to be climbing up over and over again. I have heard that some of the games, the Gacha revenues on X, maybe there might be the same of this, have been slightly twisted, if that makes any sense, because there's a certain bias towards Kuro games and Hoyo games that's going on right now. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but a couple YouTubers have been talking about that beforehand for like maybe 3 months ago. The 3 months ago revenue charts, 4 months ago, something about last year. I know that's what happened for sure. So there's that. Something about like some of the guys had like connections with Hoyo or something like that. But don't take my word for it. Honkai Star Rail. Oh, Freight Grand Order, yes. Do not want to skip this. 25 million. First things first. I've heard many stories that Fate Grand Order is going to EOS because their story ended, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to do a Honkai Impact 3rd situation where they make a part 2 story online after Kiana's story was already finished, and I'm 100% sure this is going to happen again. Fate Grand Order is just a huge money bag right here. Do you think a company is going to throw away a game that makes this much money in a month? That's BS. You're never gonna hear something like that, okay? Unless if they have like high faith in it and want to actually move on to a new project and try to risk it, you know? That's some dignity right there, and I kind of would respect that 100%. And that's pretty cool if they could do that, but there's no way a company's gonna just drop this. All right, like come on, guys. In 2 months, they made already like $38 million. Like, come on now. Honkai Star Rail. That's a huge drop. Holy Christ, that's like a little over 50 million. Damn. Yeah, that's a little over 50 million. What the hell? And it's still in 5th place. That's insane. Jesus. Yeah, this is the one that was at 1st place for last month, so honestly not crazy. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, it's Dahlia that was out. Yeah, Dahlia didn't really do good. Holy Christ. I'm a little surprised about that, but at the same time, I could understand it. A lot of people were complaining that her model looked kind of ugly. Yeah, nah. But this also kind of translates with what's going on with the damn story right now. I heard like... I'm not up to the story, but I heard they're like retconning Penacony right now, or it's like a different storyline almost, in a sense that connects with the main story. I don't understand what's going on right there. Yeah, no freaking idea what's going on over here. I heard the story's just not doing well, and there's a lot of complaints about it. Zenless Zone Zero. Here's the thing. I'm actually happy Zenless Zone Zero is in the top 5 right now. I can totally see the devs are really trying their hardest to make this game do well. They're like, you know, brought back multiplayer. They're throwing a lot of crazy free stuff. They're going with great character designs. They're trying to make the story a little bit more interesting at the very least, and they're going in a pretty interesting direction. You know, I can't blame them honestly for it, but there's a couple things I could throw an issue at, like the direction of how they're monetizing their game and trying to have people buy certain things for their game, and of course slowly, you know, HP inflation that's going on over there, and then all that. And I know Miyabi was just recently dethroned as of right now, involving with a new character, Yishuan. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So I did post for her, as you saw in my last video as well. That was really hype, really stoked. So I'm really happy with what happened over there. So there's that. Maybe a little biased for Zenless Zone Zero right now. Because I have yet to have a situation like that for Honkai Star Rail. Never has happened. Double 5 stars, or S stars in this case. Genshin Impact, 40 million. I'm gonna make a prediction right now that once we come to the new banners that are coming up, with Nicole, with Varka, with even maybe Sandrone, it's gonna just go crazy over there. I can easily see it being 100 millions in total. Like, it's just gonna go freaking crazy. And then Love and Deep Space, yeah, it's just a bunch of women and their wives, whoever, husband, wives, gay dudes, whatever. They're just fucking pumping the money right there. I can't understand how the hell this game is making money, but I mean, I guess it's just the women who are just pocket throwing the money right here. Women have the power after all, I guess, with the man's wallet. So yeah, no, I completely understand that. Actually, never mind. Yeah, no, I completely understand that. Alright, so yeah, with this in mind, I'm not really surprised with what's going on right here. Our games went down a lot. That's expecting. A couple games got EOS'd already. Yeah, we got Black Beacon that EOS. That makes sense. You know, they weren't doing really good in the first place. Love is Z3 on top right there. Genshin Impact just going up. I can totally see why that's going up right here. Kind of a little confused right now, involving with the banners on what made it make like another $20 million. The characters aren't that really crazy looking, but I mean, I guess people are okay with furries, so I mean, it's not a big deal. Withering Waves doing good. You know, Lene was doing a really good job. Maurin EXP basically, so I can see why this is doing pretty well. I think it's gonna go up even more once Morny gets released, so that's the good news right there. And then it's gonna go fucking crazy once A-Myth is gonna be released, as well as the Doctor. So that's something right there. I mean, the Doctor is gonna be a little bit lower because he's a male character, so that's to be expected. So yeah, that is, you know, what it is right there. Uma Musume is definitely going to go up next year, or next month, I mean. That's just, I can just see that happening right now. Arc Knights is going to go, it's going to go up. I have a prediction it's going to go up next month, for this month here. We're going to see the predictions coming up right here. I think Blue Archive is going to go down for sure because there's no crazy characters that's going on. It's just a couple reruns as far as I know. And I can totally see One Piece going down. I can see Stella Sora going down again. I can see PGR going down. Honkai Impact Third is going to go up. I think it's going to go up if their banner lines up properly for the next character that's coming up, which is apparently going to be Raiden's new alt. So that's going to be crazy to see right there. So yeah, other than that, that's all I really have to say, and I hope all of you guys have a wonderful day. And you know, mobile revenue gacha chart data, I hope all of you guys stay well. As you can see right here, that's a crazy amount of money that gacha is making. A lot of money coming to China, Korea, Japan, all of it being tossed over there. God damn. Alright, well, other than that, y'all take it easy. Stay well, stay swell, my friends. And we are in the new year, so let's hope everything goes well. And let's stay well. Okay? So we can stay swell. Peace.